Okay, real talk. How much of your mental energy today went toward someone else? Like, how many brain cells did you burn trying to figure out why that person is being weird with you? Or stressing about what your family thinks of your choices? Or rehearsing a whole entire argument in your head with someone who doesn't even know you're mad at them? Because if you're anything like me, and I mean, you're here, so probably, you have spent a genuinely embarrassing amount of time trying to manage things that are completely 100% outside of your control. What if I told you there are literally 2 words that can snap you out of that spiral instantly? 2 words that rewire how your brain responds to every difficult person, every awkward situation, every moment someone does something you can't stand. Those 2 words? Let them. Today, we're breaking down Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory, and I promise you, by the time we get toward the end, there's this one concept about jealousy that completely flipped the script for me. I genuinely had to put the book down and sit with it for a minute. We are getting to that. Stay with me. And there's something else. There's a secret running underneath everything in this book. Something Mel is quietly building toward from page 1 that I don't think most people catch the first time through. I'm going to spell it out for you at the end. And I genuinely think it might be the most important thing you hear today. So Mel Robbins, you probably know her from the 5-second rule, counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to stop yourself from hesitating. That book changed how she dealt with herself, but she still had no idea how to deal with other people. And honestly, same. The breakthrough moment came at her son Oakley's prom night. It's raining. The kids want to walk to this tiny taco bar called Amigos before prom, in their black tie outfits. And Mel is internally losing it, trying to book a restaurant, trying to fix it, trying to control the whole situation. Her older daughter Kendall grabs her arm and just goes, "Mom, if Oakley and his friends want to go to a taco bar for pre-prom, let them. Let them show up to prom in wet tuxedos. It's their prom, not yours." And something just shifted. The tension left her body, because she realized she was exhausting herself trying to manage an experience that wasn't even hers to manage. But here's the thing, and Mel is very clear about this. Let them alone is incomplete. If you just walk around going, let them, whatever, without doing the second part, you just become passive and maybe a little smug. The real power is in the second half of the equation. Let me. Let me decide how I respond. Let me take responsibility for my own life. That's where the magic actually is. Now, Mel teams up with Harvard physician Dr. Aditi Nerurkar for the science behind all of this. And honestly, it's wild. When something or someone annoys you, your brain literally goes into survival mode. Your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, rational, adult decision-making part of your brain, it shuts down. And your amygdala, the ancient fight-or-flight alarm system, takes over. You're not overreacting. Your brain is genuinely acting like you're being chased by a predator. And get this, 7 out of 10 people are living in chronic stress right now. That means the majority of us are walking around with our brains basically stuck in panic mode all day. So when you say, let them, the person coughing on the plane, the car that cut you off, the coworker who takes credit for your work, you're not being a pushover. You are literally acting as a manual reset switch for your nervous system. You're sending a signal to your amygdala. This is not a threat. Stand down. And then let me kicks in. You put on your headphones. You update your resume. You set a boundary. You do the thing that's actually within your control. Now, raise your hand if you have ever not done something because you were scared of what people would think. Maybe you didn't post that thing, didn't apply for that job, didn't speak up in that meeting, didn't start that business, because of an audience that, by the way, was probably not even paying attention. Mel sat on posting about her speaking business for 2 years. 2 years, terrified that her friends and family would judge her. And she's Mel Robbins, so if she's dealing with this, the rest of us definitely are. Here's the scientific reality. It is neurologically impossible to control another person's thoughts. The average adult has around 70,000 thoughts a day. Even the people who love you the most are going to have negative thoughts about you. Your mom, your best friend, your partner. It's not because they're bad people. It's because human brains are complicated, messy, and constantly running commentary. So the freedom you're looking for, it doesn't come from convincing everyone to think well of you. It comes from granting them the freedom to think whatever they want and choosing to live your life anyway. And speaking of the people whose opinions hit the hardest, family. Family cuts different, doesn't it? They cut deep, because families are these interconnected webs of expectations and history and unspoken rules. And Mel introduces a concept here that I think is genuinely life-changing. It's called the frame of reference, which she learned from Lisa Bilyeu. When Mel got engaged, her mom's reaction was cold. She basically said she wouldn't have picked Mel's fiancé. Mel was hurt and confused for years, but later she understood. Her mom had moved away from her own family at 19, leaving everything behind to go to the Midwest. She was terrified that if Mel married an East Coast man, she would lose her daughter the same way she lost her own family. Her mom's reaction wasn't really about Mel's fiancé at all. It was about fear. And when Mel saw that, when she understood her mom's frame of reference, the resentment dissolved. Understanding someone's frame of reference doesn't mean you agree with them. It just replaces a power struggle with compassion. And honestly, that's so much lighter to carry. Okay, I need you to think of one person in your life who gives you the silent treatment. Just one. Who comes to mind? Mel's therapist, Dr. Ann Davin, said something that I think explains almost every difficult person you've ever dealt with. Most adults are essentially 8-year-olds trapped in big bodies. Because most of us were never taught how to actually regulate our emotions as kids, we just carried those childhood coping mechanisms into adulthood. So pouting became the silent treatment, tantrums became rage texts, running away became conflict avoidance. When someone gives you the silent treatment, they are being a toddler, hoping you'll come soothe them. And look, it's not your job to manage another adult's emotions. Let them pout. Let me be the one who shows up with maturity and maintains my own peace. And here's the part that got me about this. Making the right decision for yourself will sometimes feel completely wrong because it causes pain to someone you love. Mel brings in Dr. Lisa Damour here, who makes the point that sadness, heartbreak, and disappointment are actually mentally healthy responses to life's upsets. You're not breaking someone by making a hard choice. You're allowing them to experience a normal human emotional response. You cannot protect everyone from discomfort. You have to ride the wave and do what's right for your life. Let them feel what they feel. Let me make the choice I know is right. Okay, this is the part I told you about at the beginning. This is the thing that made me put the book down. Mel talks about comparison, and she breaks it into 2 categories. Pay attention, because most of us are doing the wrong one. Torture comparison is when you obsess over things you cannot change. Someone else's genetics, their height, the trust fund they were born into. Mel talks about her daughter Sawyer comparing herself to her sister Kendall's body type, and it was destroying her self-esteem, because it's an unfair fight she can never win. You cannot work your way into someone else's bone structure. Teacher comparison is when you're jealous of something you actually could achieve if you did the work. And this is where Mel drops the line that hit me like a truck. Jealousy is simply an invitation from your future self. That jealousy you feel when someone builds a successful brand, gets that promotion, launches that thing you've been thinking about for years, it's not really about them. It's your own subconscious waving a flag going, hey, you know you're capable of this. Stop making excuses. Mel admits she literally threw a tantrum, a whole grown woman tantrum, when she toured a friend's stunning multi-million-dollar home with queen-size bunk beds that she'd always dreamed of having. She was furious, and then she realized she wasn't mad at her friend. She was mad at herself for giving up on her own ambitions. So instead of letting that jealousy be a poison, she used it as fuel. She got to work, she put in the reps, and she built her success. Let them succeed, let me use it as a mirror. Can we just take a second to acknowledge that adult friendship is genuinely one of the harder things nobody warned us about? In school, friendship was built into the structure. You were just around the same people every day, and boom, friends. But then you hit your 20s, and Mel calls it the great scattering. People move, people get married, people have kids. Everyone's in a different life chapter. And suddenly, proximity, which was always just automatic,
becomes something you have to actively create. Adult friendship runs on three things: proximity, timing, and energy. Proximity matters because research suggests it takes around 200 hours of time together to build a genuinely close friendship. Timing matters because if you and someone you like are in completely different life seasons, it's just hard to relate, even if the connection is real. And energy? You click with people or you don't, and that shifts over time. It's not anyone's fault. Mel actually convinced her best friend to move to her town, and the friend immediately bonded with the neighbors across the street instead. And Mel's response? Honestly embarrassing by her own admission. Bitter, toxic energy that only pushed everyone further away. Lesson learned the hard way. The solution? You have to be the one to go first. When Mel moved to Vermont in her 50s, she spent an entire year crying in her house, feeling completely alone. Her daughters essentially forced her to go knock on a neighbor's door. She started learning the names of the baristas at her coffee shop. She started a walking group. She built a whole new social scaffolding from scratch at 50-something by choosing to show up first, even when it felt awkward. Let people grow apart. Let friendship shift. Let me be the one who goes first.
Here's a truth that's inconvenient for anyone who has ever nagged someone they love. You cannot pressure an adult into changing. Psychiatrist Dr. Aleb Kanogia explains that the moment you push someone, their survival instinct kicks in, and they dig their heels in harder. Not because they don't want to change, but because their brain needs to feel like change is their own idea. Control over their own life is that fundamental. And Dr. Tali Sharot's research shows that people's brains literally tune out negative threats and warnings because everyone secretly believes they are the exception. So the lecture, the stats, the "but your health" conversation, largely not landing the way you hope. Instead, Mel gives us what she calls the ABC loop. First, prep. Use the 5 whys method to drill down into your frustration and figure out whether this is really about them or your own control issues or embarrassment. Then A, apologize and ask. Apologize for nagging. Yes, actually apologize. Then use open-ended questions, called motivational interviewing, to help them articulate the gap between what they want and how they're living. You're not telling them, you're asking them to see it themselves. Then B, back off. Give them space, sometimes up to 6 months. Let the internal tension build until change feels like their own idea, because then it actually sticks. And finally, C, celebrate. The moment they make any positive move, immediately reward it with genuine warmth and praise. You're neurologically linking their hard work to a positive feeling. That's how lasting change gets reinforced. Now, there's a really important line here between supporting someone and enabling them, and it's blurrier than most of us realize. Dr. Robert Waldinger says to let people learn from life. Natural consequences are often the best teacher. When you constantly rescue someone, you're actually preventing them from building the resilience they need. Mel's story about her husband Chris is gutting and real. When he was struggling with his restaurant business and alcohol, his brother flat out refused to loan him money. And that refusal, that painful, hard boundary, is what ultimately forced Chris to hit rock bottom, close the business, and get sober. True support isn't always rescue. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone feel the full weight of their choices. All right, one last stop before we get to the secret I promised you, and this one might sting a little, in a loving way. Stop chasing someone's potential. Watch their actual behavior. If someone is sending you mixed signals, going hot and cold, available one day and distant the next, they are not confused. They are treating you as a convenience, not a priority, and you deserve to be a priority. Relationship expert Matthew Hussey's advice via Mel: have a calm, non-emotional conversation where you state clearly that you value your time and only want to invest it in something that's moving forward. If they say no or give you some version of "I'm not ready," let them go. Don't accept table scraps when you deserve a full meal. Doctors John and Julie Gottman spent 40 years researching couples and found that 69% of relationship problems are fundamentally unresolvable. Not because couples are failing, but because most conflict comes from genuine personality differences that don't go away. So if you've run the ABC loop for months and nothing has shifted, Mel adds 2 more steps. D. Decide if it's a deal breaker. Can you genuinely, peacefully live with this person forever if they never change? Not tolerate, actually accept. And E. End your bitching or end the relationship. You either fully accept them as they are, like Chris accepting Mel's ADHD and chronic lateness, or you walk away. There's no in-between that doesn't slowly poison everything. And if a breakup does happen, Mel recommends 30 days of no contact, because this person is literally wired into your nervous system. You have to remove their triggers from your space, redesign your environment, fill your calendar. You have to give your nervous system a chance to learn a new normal.
Okay, the secret. I promised you this at the beginning, and here it is. Every single thing we talked about today, the stress, the opinions, the silent treatment, the comparison spiral, the friendship anxiety, the enabling, the mixed signals, it all comes back to the same problem. We have been spending our most precious resource, our time and energy and mental real estate, trying to control something that was never ours to control. And underneath all of it, Mel is quietly building toward this one truth that I don't think hits you until you've sat with the whole book. You are the only person you are guaranteed to spend the rest of your life with. Not your partner, not your best friend, not your kids, you. So what if, instead of pouring all of that energy into managing everyone else, you redirected it into building your own thing, into showing up for your own life, into being the kind of person you actually respect? That jealousy you feel about someone's success, let me use it as a roadmap. That friendship that drifted, let them go and let me invest in people who are actually showing up. That person who won't change, let them stay exactly who they are and let me decide if that works for my life. Mel ends the book with something I want to leave you with. You are the love of your life. And when you finally start treating yourself that way, giving yourself the grace, the energy, the attention you've been handing out to everyone else, everything changes. So here's your homework right now, before you close this video. Think of one thing, just one, that you've been letting someone else's opinion stop you from doing. One thing. And say to yourself, let them think whatever they want. Let me do the thing. Do that one thing today, not tomorrow, today. If this hit you somewhere real, drop a comment. I genuinely read every single one. Let me know which part of the let them theory you needed to hear most today. And if you know someone who is exhausting themselves trying to manage everyone around them, share this with them. That might be the most let me thing you do all week. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.